Hi, I'm Joe. You might know me from shows like the We Tell You show with Taylor. Hi, Taylor.
Hi, I'm off camera.
He's off camera. He's right over there. So this is going to be the show where I tell you all the things that I do and why you should listen to me. So here we go. You should listen to me because of the following. I'm like you. I grew up with very little, close to little, nothing. I grew up welfare, bad neighborhood, poor neighborhood, wrong side of the tracks, all that stuff. Don't care about how you should feel about that. Don't want you to feel sorry for me. I just want to tell you how we came across from that point to this point. What Taylor has talked to you about before, I can hear his stomach. What Taylor's talked to you about before, what Taylor's talked about before is what I do now, but we don't really talk about the path of how we got here. So what I do now is property investments. I do consulting. I do real estate investments. I do rentals, buy, sell, flips, things like that. So when I started out doing this business, I started out with my uncle. I did flips with him, and I helped him work on the properties. I was about 13 years old. I went from there to graduating high school, and while in high school, developing a love and passion for tech and computer science. And what I did is I started rebuilding computers, and I started installing Windows systems. I don't know, tech guys are probably caught Windows, whatever. Yes, it was important at the time. Hard drives, RAM, whatever, you name it. And this all stemmed not because necessarily I wanted to learn it or be an expert in it. It's because I didn't have any money, like most people. I didn't have any money to go get the repairs. I didn't have money to fix these things. I didn't have money to do anything because I had no money growing up. So everything I had to do, I had to learn from behind. I had to learn myself on how to get the things I wanted out of life and the things I wanted in life by myself with little or no money and just ability. So I started working in computer science. I started working for a real estate company, and my first job in real estate was doing tech work at a company in Long Beach next to Compton. And guess who was also there? Taylor.
Hi.
Yes,
I was there.
He was there too, working at the same company with me. So I've known Taylor for a long time. And in between that time, I also had several other crummy jobs, stuff like that.
As we all have.
Yes, exactly. So we worked there, and we did networking, troubleshooting, computer science, general work, stuff like that. From there, we moved on, and I moved on to a loan company, one of the biggest loan companies at the time in Orange County. So what I was doing there is I was doing graphics design, web work, and general desktop support, things like that. So I went from property management company to loan company, and then after the loan company closed, this was around the time of the great bubble bursting in our economy for real estate, I lost the job, the company closed, and then again I found myself working with
Me.
Taylor. That's right.
Hi.
He's back. I found myself working with Taylor again, but at this time it was a debt management company, and I worked the same job, IT. So how does this relate to any of this? Well, you're going to find out. It all comes around in a full circle. So after I did that, I opened up my own company doing financial management and consulting. And then after that, I opened my own company doing real estate acquisitions, real estate flips, and rentals. So how does that make any sense? Tech guy in that business? Because tech guys are the ones who do everything for businesses. We are the backbone of everything. We're the backbone of emails when they're not working. The internet. We get blamed for everything. We have to know everyone's job. And Taylor could certainly back me up on this.
Yes, very true.
So in order to learn every single person's job, we had to sit and troubleshoot for them. We had to sit there and learn what programs they were using, how they were using it, what was the purpose of using it, or they filing certain forms, filling out certain paperwork, stuff like that. Over time, I realized that I had picked up all this knowledge on how to do exactly the business that I do right now. And as kind of a side job, what I would do is I would help my friends with early teachings from my uncle, how to work on credit and how to build their credit and how to use their credit to acquire things that they didn't necessarily have cash for. And on the side of doing that, I ended up becoming an expert in credit and money management and working with finances and doing all that while I was doing computer science work and working for real estate companies. So now I took all this knowledge from over a decade of work, and I'm still young, but I've had a lifetime of experience. And I've had the high paying job, I've made six figures. I did all of it. And I was depressed. I was working too much. I was upset. And I paid a lot of money in taxes. And I realized in the end, it made me really unhappy. So I had lived a life between the ages of 20 and about 28, 29 of a 45, 50-year-old disgruntled worker. So by that time, I had accumulated the dream, making the money, doing all that stuff, and I was still poor. I had nothing, and I wondered why. Why do I have nothing? Why did I earn all that money? And I bought TVs, I bought a nice car, I did all the things that everyone said would make me happy. I did all those things, everything. And I wasn't a guy who had this stuff. I wasn't given this stuff. I earned all of it. So I thought it'd be okay, but I fell into these traps, and I didn't know they were traps when I was in them. I had no idea. So I had bills, lots of bills. I had a nice place, and I didn't know why I had all this stuff that I thought would be good for me, and I still had nothing. And then for a while, kind of went in my shell and became reclusive, and I wanted to analyze and look at my life and see where I was going and see the differences in the choices I made. And like Taylor said, I did so many things, he wasn't even sure what I was doing now at this point. And then I realized it was kind of weird. I realized when I was like, it was 2009, it was a recession, it was a turning point. People didn't have any money, people didn't have any jobs, people didn't have things going on for themselves. It was a desperate time, so said the news and the media and everyone else. So I was going to garage sales. Funny, right? Garage sales, it doesn't mean anything. You're just going to garage sales, right? And I saw a bunch of cool things at garage sales. I saw all expensive microwaves, TVs, DVD players, Blu-ray players, blenders, all kinds of nice, cool stuff that during the recession would have cost a lot of money. South Park has a joke about it, where the Margaritaville episode, where he has the Margaritaville blender, but then he doesn't even want it anymore and he wants to return it. And I realized that everyone during the recession was selling a bunch of stuff that was essentially useless to them, that they couldn't live without when they were earning money and had everything coming in from their jobs. So what they did is they sat there, they sold all these possessions that actually mean nothing, because what really meant something to them was keeping their home, keeping their family together, feeding their family, things like that. And I realized that essentially a lot of items and things that I had was worthless. I had spent thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars on each individual item. And really, it took all my money that I earned at the prime of my life, and I squandered it away on useless garbage, junk, worthless things. And I was picking up furniture, couches, electronics, things like that for nothing, like $20-$30 at a time, stuff like that. And I realized in 2009 that it was a very critical, important juncture in my life, that it doesn't matter how much you make. It does not matter. It matters how much you keep. And that was very critical. And I know you're thinking right now, no, because if I have money, it'll solve my problems and I'll be fine and everything will be okay. It's not, because there's offense and there's defense. Offense is how much money you make. Defense is how much money you keep. And I had learned that I had a great offense. I worked very, very hard, and I worked so much that I can overcome a lot of obstacles. I can overcome my background, no money, the way I grew up, everything like that. But I couldn't overcome the obvious things. I couldn't overcome the need to feel successful, the need to impress people, the need to show people things that you have with the money you've earned, and to show everyone you have a good life. I didn't know that lesson until I started finding these things throughout. I didn't have a job at the time. I had a business that I opened. The business was closing, and the business, not due to my own fault, but due to regulation in the industry at the time. And it was sad. I put my heart and soul and my energy into it, and I realized that the reason I didn't have any money was my own fault. I had spent it all and squandered it all on things that did not matter and were essentially worthless. So I started compiling my life, getting everything together, and say, what's going to go back to the original way to make me happy? So I said, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do what my uncle did and what I wanted to do in the first place. And I'm going to go back into real estate and acquire properties and acquire housing and use the money that I have to really take every opportunity that I ever have, all the money I've ever made, and instead of wasting it and squandering on useless goods, taking the money that I made and putting it in long-term investments, putting it in solid foundations so that no matter what, even if I lost my job, lost my car, sold those things, whatever, I would still have those items and I would still have those investments that would hold me over. So I bought investments in real estate, and I started out small, and I started out in houses in Arizona, and then then moved to Nevada, and then I moved into Orange County and this LA County, California. So what I did is I said, no matter how much money we make and no matter how much money we earn, and at the time I had opened up a business and that business started to take off, and I said to everyone who was involved in my business, it does not matter because we have to look at this business as temporary, and if we want to build a permanent foundation, we need to take this money and put it in investments so that way we can have a lifetime earning potential. And I turned myself into dedicated full-time expert in real estate and real estate investments. I started making connections, talking with my uncle again, working on everything. And I decided that everything that in my life to that point and everything I had learned from credit management to working at real estate companies to working at loan companies has trained me in a way for this job that not many people could be trained. And everything I had learned had been tools for this. I'm not a salesman. I'm not a real estate guy. I'm not an agent. I'm a guy who could tell people how to start from nothing and achieve things that they didn't think possible and how to get goals that they didn't think would ever happen. So this is why you should take the next couple of videos, listen to me, and hear my story, hear what I've learned, hear what I rant and rave and talk about to my friends all the time. And what we can do is I could show you together through these videos and with my good friend Taylor I've known for well over a decade.
Yes.
Now, and I'm going to show you the journey that I went through and how to do the things that I did. And I'm going to tell you why now I turned myself from having nothing and growing up to having a wealthy lifestyle of security. And I mean wealthy as in security. Like I have security, I have financial stability, I have money in the bank, I have investments, and I did all that and everything I learned through all this time. And I realized at a certain point that I could tell everyone how I did it and I could help everyone with it and I can help you and everyone watching this video and structure it in a way with no bull, I'm not going to jazz you up. I'm not going to do pep talks. I'm not going to get you energized. I'm going to tell you exactly the actual specifics on how to do it and where to start. And we're going to show you in these videos where to start and detail by detail, question by question. You can contact us. You can contact me. You can contact Taylor. You can contact the show. And you can ask us questions, advice, subjects, everything like that. And as long as we can and we are available to help you, we will answer the questions and be interactive. And we'll tell you exactly in your situation what you should do. Credit-wise, for school, for loans, for refinancing, for debt, for money management, for general advice, encouragement, whatever. We are here. And I'm Joe. This is Joe Tells You. And that's
Taylor. I'm off camera.
And Taylor's off camera. But he'll be coming in and out of these different shows. So we do one together. I do one with myself. I do one without him. But really, he's always there. So it doesn't matter. He will be there watching, waiting.
Yes. Keeping Joe alive. Keep Joe afloat.
Exactly. It's a full-time job. Takes a lot of food, a lot of calories. That's why you should listen to me.